Now at 6 o'clock, a local brass band and activist group is rallying behind one of their members who they say was arrested by federal agents while protesting outside Portland's ICE facility.
We're very hopeful, of course. I mean, we want the genocide to stop.
And we're hearing from locals on what they think about the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. We have the latest in the Middle East coming up at 6:20.
Also this hour on the Sunrise Show, do you have credit card myths that you still hold on to? We're going to try to debunk some of those myths for you as we kick off the 6 o'clock hour of Sunrise right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on your Tuesday. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. As we check in with Chris McGinnis and Rod Hill to start this 6 o'clock hour, Rod is coming off what he's calling a perfect game yesterday. The man threw a perfect weather game on the Sunrise Show.
The numbers were, our forecast high was 61, the forecast low was 42, and those were the actuals. So I'm a sports fan, so I call that a double-double. It happens a handful of times out of the year. It's harder to do than you might think, by the way. Here's a look at our Timberline sky camera. Looking at the snow that piled up as high as 15 inches, 30 degrees. Here's the east wind. It is humming. Unrestricted winds, of course, up on the plain into Mount Hood, so gusts to 32 miles per hour. That's about the exact same wind speed that we have at Crown Point down in the Columbia River. But by the time you get into Troutdale, winds this morning have been under 10 miles per hour. So the air is moving enough in spots to hold temperatures up somewhat. In fact, out at the PDX is 47. You could see the flag blowing down in downtown Portland. So again, there's a noticeable breeze in areas around the valley this morning. It will be a beautiful clear sky day. Temperatures, I've got 44 on the graphic, but they're literally anywhere from 36 to about 50 out there right now, depending on the winds. 57 at noon, we'll get up to about 64. So jacket morning, pretty nice afternoon. Here's Chris.
Sunglasses too. Hard to beat. All right, let's pick it up down south of the Dayton area. Just getting word of a crash here on Highway 221 near the Lafayette Highway. The road is open at this point, but there is an emergency response around that, so be on the lookout for that. Back to our local freeways, Highway 26 to Sunset at the Sylvan Hill. That's zipping right along. This is a live look right now from the Broadway Bridge. Photojournalist Eric Patterson on the scene. If you haven't heard, we've been mentioning it a lot, but this is a big deal. The Broadway Bridge closed yesterday for 6 months as the county does some bridge deck replacement there. Your alternate routes, of course, the Steel or the Fremont Bridge. And I would suspect as traffic gets busier here, those routes are also going to get busier. The Fremont, the Steel Bridge, etc. So be on the lookout for that. Again, that 6-month closure of the Broadway Bridge started yesterday. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Top story here at 6 o'clock. Roughly 4,000 Kaiser Permanente healthcare workers in Oregon and Southwest Washington are set to walk off the job later this morning.
It's part of a larger strike happening this week at Kaiser medical centers in several states. Devin Haskins is live outside the Sunnyside location with more on this. So Devin, walk us through what we know so far.
Yeah, so for what this means for patients, Kaiser Permanente says they're going to bring in some temporary workers to fill the positions of those striking workers. They also said that they're going to be rescheduling some appointments or moving them online. Now, again, that strike's supposed to start at 7 a.m. when we're expecting to see workers walk off the jobs. Union says negotiations have been ongoing since March. Both sides say they've made some progress, but they're still far apart on pay and staffing. The strike involves an alliance of unions across 3 states, California, Oregon, and Hawaii, that are going on strike, representing registered nurses, lab techs, and other health professionals. The Oregon Federation of Nurses and Health Professionals voted overwhelmingly to authorize the strike in September, with 97% voting in favor. Unions are pushing for better wages and working conditions, while Kaiser says it's bargained in good faith and offered a fair new contract.
We want safe working conditions for our staff, for our patients. We want livable wages. Right now, we have staff members that are 20, 30% below the market standards. We have staff who are having to go to food pantries to go and to get food. They're forced to work a second and a third job to make ends meet.
Kaiser Permanente said in a statement, quote, "A strike is unnecessary when a generous offer is on the table. It is designed to disrupt the lives of our patients, the very people we are all here to serve." Again, we're expecting those workers to walk off the job at 7 a.m. They say this is a limited duration strike, meaning it'll only last a few days. It will go until Sunday at 7 a.m. Back to you.
All right, Devin Haskins. We'll have more from Devin, of course, coming up next hour when those workers walk off the job. Meanwhile, this is new video from late last night, right around 11 o'clock, outside Portland's ICE facility. We saw federal agents firing gas canisters and other munitions at protesters, although it's not clear what prompted that response. Portland police say they made no arrests last night near the ICE facility. The protesters outside the facility this past weekend included a local activist group that calls themselves the Unprecedented Brass Band.
And now one of the band members, a clarinet player named Oriana Carroll, is behind bars at the Clark County Jail after being arrested by federal agents. Last night, dozens showed up in Vancouver to march and play music outside the jail and call attention to the arrest. It's unclear why she's held in a different state across the river, but the jail did confirm to KGW that Carroll is currently booked on a Department of Homeland Security hold on the charge of assaulting a federal officer. Her bandmates say that on Sunday, she was across the street from the ICE facility playing when an officer charged in her direction and held her against a fence. And now her bandmates say that her charges don't add up.
I feel very different right now. Not so much like scared, definitely a little traumatized, but more like it feels like the rules have changed, right? So before yesterday, we've been doing this for a very long time. Unprecedented Brass Band has been out for 8.5 years or so now, and we've seen a lot of these things happen, right? But never like this.
We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for details on the arrest. Though they haven't responded to her specific case, a spokesperson did say that 3 people were arrested Sunday for assaulting law enforcement, including biting, kicking, and spitting at officers. DHS characterized the protesters as rioters and Antifa domestic terrorists. The band is now hoping that their bandmates' release will happen as soon as today and will continue their form of protest.
People who live in the South Waterfront area continue to complain about helicopter noise around the ICE facility. The city of Portland confirms it's received 174 noise complaints, all about helicopter noise, since September 27th. That's 2.5 weeks ago. KGW is also getting calls about the noise from people in that neighborhood. Here's what one of them told us.
If you're running those things between 7 and 3 a.m. consistently on weekends, I started tracking it just for my own amusement. It's a little annoying. And again, I'm fairly protected from the noise because of the buildings around me. So it's worse out here on these sides.
We still don't know if it's one helicopter flying over the ICE facility or if there's more than one. The Port of Portland has indicated that the helicopter activity in that area is federally operated. And the city adds it has no control over aircraft noise, saying it's regulated by the FAA. A few weeks ago, the FBI said someone pointed a laser at a U.S. Customs and Border Protection helicopter that was flying over Portland.
Meantime, OHSU says no patients were impacted after air ambulance helicopters had to divert because of a fire, calling on people to shine lasers at police helicopters flying above the ICE facility Saturday night. Though it's unclear if the laser tag event actually occurred, shining lasers at aircraft is against state and federal law and can be extremely dangerous. It can blind or distract pilots and in extreme cases may cause them to lose control of the aircraft. Gresham police are investigating a string of thefts targeting local businesses. Surveillance video here shows a young woman leaping over the checkout counter before making off with cash. She's described as 18 to 25 years old, between 5'6" and 5'9", 120 pounds. If you have any information, contact Gresham Police.
Today is the last day for voter registration in Oregon before next month's special election on November 4th. The deadline to register online is tonight at 11:59 p.m. If you want to do it in person, you can print, fill out, and return a registration form to your county elections office. Ballots will go out in the mail tomorrow. This is an off-cycle year, but all 3 Portland metro counties have items on the ballot. And if you live in Washington, the deadline to register, either online or by mail, is October 27th.
All right, your time now is 6:09. We're taking a live look from our Vancouver waterfront sky cam. It looks, well, pretty dark. I don't know the weather today because I can't see it. I can't feel it. So
No clouds, just twinkling stars.
Oh, really?
It's
Oh,
easy to remember today. Not a cloud in the sky, perfectly clear.
Love that.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of talk about the wind, but the wind so far isn't doing much. So these are sustained winds east of Troutdale at 6, and there hasn't really been much of a gust. calm at PDX, east at 3 at Hillsboro. Now, one of my buddies, Jay Lundenberg, who's a photographer editor here at the station, Jay bikes to work, so he gives me a great report. The temperatures were actually cooler yesterday, but the winds were calm. There's still enough of a breeze, and Jay said it felt pretty similar to yesterday as you're out and about and you make your commute in this morning. Again, just enough of a breeze to be noticeable, 10 miles per hour in McMinnville. Here's that shot that Chan and Drew just showed you. 41 is the temperature at Pearson Airfield in Vancouver. We have some 30s, not as many as I thought we would have. 37 up in Scappoose, 37 in Battleground. Again, just a 5 to even 10 mile per hour occasional breeze keeps temperatures up. 43 in downtown Portland and 43 degrees this morning down in Salem. So the winds coming out of the gorge, Crown Point's been seeing gusts no higher than about 30 to 33 miles per hour. And we think generally the windy spots in the gorge will be somewhere around 30 miles per hour again today. But most of you will be in that noticeable breeze, but not overly windy, 10 to 20 mile per hour category. Hood River, 59 degrees, perfectly clear. The Dalles gets up to about 61. Here are the other numbers. The coast to be similar to the valley today. 64 Tillamook, 64 Portland at 4 p.m. And then low 50s in Madras and low 50s out in John Day. Some cloudiness in eastern parts of our state this morning, expected to clear out during the day. Portland, we're all clear, 65 today. Colder tonight because the wind will be more calm much of the night. I've got Portland at 39. Maybe some of you will be mid-30s or cold or colder. And then we got that next chance of some rain, but not much coming in Thursday night. It looks like that could be out of here in time for a dry Friday, and that is your forecast.